What is your personal itching factor in trading? What this has to mean, plus 4 risks that you really have to take care of in your trading, this is what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's go ahead and start right away. Last video, we talked about risk versus money management. And this is the reason why we're concentrating on the risks today. So 4 risks that we're going to take a look at, starting out with the risk size. This means how much risk are you willing to take per trade? It's a really personal thing, so you really have to go into yourself and see what you feel comfortable with. But in general, the risk size means you say you're gonna risk, for example, $200 per trade, or maybe only $50. Or you say I'm risking, for example, 1% of my account size each trade. So this is what really means risk size. But please, especially the beginners among you, please take into account that you really don't take too big risks, especially in the beginning. I see many traders going risks or trading risks for 10% of their account size per trade or something like that. This is too high. It's not only too high for beginners, it's too high at all. So please don't over risk your trading. So this brings us to step number 2, the position size. First, you have to define your risk size. And once you have defined it, then you can see what it means in your position size. What do I mean? You have to transfer it into lots. So you have to transfer your $50 or $200, for example, or your 1% into lots that you can trade. They're normal lots, they're mini lots, they're micro lots, meaning 0.1 lots or 0.01 lots. So with these sizes you can decide what is your position size in order to meet your personal risk size. But it should be defined once. Of course you can, as soon as you notice it's too high or too low, you can adjust it, but it should be fixed for your strategy. If you switch between the risk sizes or position sizes too often, you can't really tell if your strategy is going good or not, because it's not representable, because you're taking different risks each time and your strategy can't take that into account. So in order to trade your strategy really clear, you have to decide on a constant risk size. Really important. Next factor we are going to talk about risk-reward ratio, and I will add, because they are really in a relation with each other, the hit rate. I get asked really often if my risk-reward ratio has to be positive. What do I mean with that? Risk-reward ratio says, for example, if you enter the trade at this point and your take profit is maybe here, so I will put an E for entry, take profit here, and your stop loss down here. And you see, the space between stop loss and take profit is not the same size. The stop loss is farther away than the take profit. In this case, we will talk about a negative risk-reward ratio. But a strategy is not bad if it allows trades with a risk-reward ratio which is sometimes negative. It is always important what your hit rate is. It's in a relation with each other. For example, if your hit rate, so that you're really hitting take profit, is less than 50%, for example, then of course, or even let's say 50% first, if you're reaching 50% of the times the take profit and 50% of the times the stop loss, and your loss is bigger than your win, of course, it's a negative circle and you're not making profits, you're losing more money than you gain. So in this case, it would really be a bad strategy. But for example, if your hit rate is 80%, so you're hitting take profit 4 times and only hitting the stop loss 1 time. And let's say the stop loss is twice as far away from the entry as the take profit. So let's say you're losing $50 if you hit the stop loss 1 time and making 4 times $25 with the take profit. Then in the end you're making $100, losing $50, and in the end it stays a profit of $50. It's just an example, but I want to show you that you really have to know your numbers. Risk-reward ratio and hit rate itself don't tell that much about a strategy. Only the relation between each other is that what really should be taken into account. This leads us now to the 4th factor and the question that I opened this video with, which is your personal itching factor in trading. I will write it down really quick. Oops, itching factor. You may have not heard that before, because this is a name that I have made up myself. It describes the situation when a trader sits in front of the trading desk and is watching the markets, has opened a position and is getting more nervous, itching is his arm or her arm here and there, then maybe his leg, or shaking his leg like a fly would sit on it, you know, like it would itch. This is why I called it itching factor, because this is always happening when a trader is not feeling comfortable with his trading. Which causes could that have? First, the trader has no trust in the strategy or the signals that he is working with. Or second, the trader is not feeling comfortable with the risk he or she is trading. So of course, make sure you're only trading signals or strategies that you feel comfortable with and you trust. And of course, since we're talking about risk in this video, only risk a percentage or amount of money that you feel comfortable with. Where is your itching factor? Which risk size are you starting to feel uncomfortable with? Are you starting to notice the itching factor? Pay attention to it. Because once you notice your itching factor, you get emotional. And emotions in trading, like you should probably know, but greed and fear are the most common emotions in trading, and they always lead into failure on the long run. So please make sure that you leave the emotions out of your trading. And for this, you really have to be comfortable with your risk size, your position size, the strategy or signals you're trading with, and their numbers they have. And you have to know your itching factor. So for some traders, it may be $50 that they feel comfortable in risking. Some traders may feel comfortable with $500 a trade, some with $5,000 a trade. It's just individual. There's no general rule for that. But you have to really listen to yourself and maybe take a look at yourself while trading. And if you don't feel comfortable with, for example, risking $300 per trade, take a look, maybe you feel comfortable with $200. There's always a line maybe in your mind, if it seems like too much money, even if you have trust in your strategy. There's some amounts that some people don't feel comfortable with in handling. So, know your itching factor. That's it for this video. So now you're prepared for your risk management. And if you want to learn more or maybe join my trading where I share my trades in real time and you can copy them, you'll find below this video a link to my Telegram group and I will be happy to meet you there. Bye bye.